Okay, this is part 2, and I was just talking about how successful the system's going to be. It blows my mind. It really does. It does. It's beyond any genius I could even think of, to be honest with you, when you really understand how this thing's going to work. Okay? But what I want to get into right now is, once the image of the beast is there, and I told you I'm going to get to the real nitty gritty. This is what you have to understand. The Antichrist is going to have a deadly wound that's healed. A lot of people assume they know what that is. I assume I know, but I don't know. I believe that he is somehow going to be raised up through technology. I believe he'll receive a deadly wound, but he's going to be part computer, part man. Almost like someone right now would have like a pacemaker in their chest, and once you take that pacemaker out, they're dead. I believe that he's going to receive a wound, and technology is going to fix him. So he's going to be one with the system. Do you understand what I'm saying? He is literally going to be one with the system, and it's going to involve technology. And I don't know how it's going to work, but I believe that when people see this Antichrist, he's going to personify the system, because the system is going to be complete technology. And guess what? The Antichrist is going to have some of that technology, which might explain how intelligent this guy is, which might explain how unbelievably persuasive he is. Okay? And why the world wonders after him, saying, who can make war with this guy? So, and this is a crude analogy, so please permit me. All I'm trying to do is inspire you to think. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay? But in the movie Star Wars, Darth Vader, well, Anakin Skywalker, he was basically dead. But then the technology system raised him from the dead by making him part man, part machine. And I believe that it's a very crude analogy, and I know that that's sci-fi. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that that's basically, if you think about the Antichrist in the future, and you enjoy thinking about stuff like that, just think about the Antichrist and then think about Darth Vader. Because basically, I'm not saying he's going to look like Darth Vader, but I'm saying it will be technology mingled with flesh. Okay? Just like Darth Vader. But I'm not saying it's going to be like that. I'm just saying you should think about that. Okay? But there's a very important reason, and this is really what I have to say. There's a very important reason as to why the system is created and Antichrist sits on the throne, but that is not what the devil finishes with. That is not his finish. The Antichrist receiving worship is not the finish. And I'm going to explain to you why. The Antichrist will be part technology, but also human. This dude was born through a woman. Okay? Just like you and I were, and just like Jesus was. Satan is not going to allow that to taint his final regime on earth. He is not going to allow anything associated with God to receive worship in light of him. He's not going to allow it. If the Antichrist receives complete worship at the end, then man is still worshiping that which God has created. Since God created man, the devil won't allow it. It'll taint his whole party. Do you understand? Let me tell you something. When the world worships the sun or the earth or Satan himself, God is grieved. God doesn't like it. But guess what? You're still worshiping what God created. God created Satan. God created the earth and the moon and the sun and the stars. So even though you're grieving God by worshiping those things, you're still worshiping that which God created. And this is why I'm trying to explain to you how ingenious this is. Because the devil bypasses that. And he's successful. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Do you understand? What the world ends up worshiping, and via the mark, the uploaded worships directly to the image of the beast, is completely separate from God's creation. So in essence, what Satan eventually possesses, the image of the beast, which man created to signify the beast system, man's interpretation of the beast system, man's artistic, technical interpretation, that's what Satan possesses. And that's what the world ends up worshiping. And every time they purchase something, it's uploaded to that beast, the system, which will be personified by this image that man created. And that's the worship towards Satan. It completely bypasses anything having to do with man. You need to understand that, because when the public society, which is alienated from God, because the Bible says that we're born in sin, it's not Christians making this, okay? And I don't mean to get, I'm trying not to go there, okay? But it's not Christians who make this. It is men and women who have separated themselves from, who are separated from God because they're not born again, but they're separated. They're in their sins. They're dead in their sins. And it is these people that are commissioned who build the image to the beast. So if you look, I know the Bible, and I'm gonna, and even if you're not saved, I'm telling you, nothing grieves God more than when man or woman makes something with their hands and they worship it, because that bypasses everything God created. If you're not worshiping God, who is the creator, and you're not worshiping that which he created, the sun, the moon, the stars, Satan, but you're actually taking something your hands made and you're putting it somewhere and you're worshiping that, then your worship is going completely in the opposite direction. It's completely away from God, and it's completely away from what God has created. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the beast at the end, the system that inspires man to express their image of the beast system and then to create something with the work of their hands. They create it. And then for Satan to possess that, and for that object right there to receive all the worship, and for all the technology to be uploaded directly to that system, he has completely bypassed God. Completely. And in doing that, he has done something that grieves the heart of God more than anything, because man is basically at that time not only worshiping the work of their hands, but they're actually expressing themselves towards the beast system and what he personifies and what he stands for. If you really understand the heart of worship, okay, and trust me, listen to what I'm telling you, this is completely bypassing God. You simply don't understand the level. You don't understand. It's like the Grand Canyon, man. It's like, it's a level that you cannot understand. How when this whole thing unfolds, okay? And I know it's a little difficult to understand, but when this whole thing unfolds, and when society finally makes that image, and Satan possesses it, and he commands all to get the mark, and everybody who gets that mark, every time they use that mark, they're basically worshiping the beast through the image they created. God's been completely bypassed on every level. Every level. There's no level that he has not been bypassed. And Satan's successful. He does it. And it's hidden in plain sight. I'm explaining this thing, but I'm telling you, it's hidden in plain sight. It's amazing when you think about it. Listen, an artist, let's say I'm an artist and I draw pictures, okay? Let's say I draw 10 pictures. Okay? Let's say people worship me as an artist. They say, Scott, we worship you as an artist. Okay? That's like us worshiping God. He's the creator. He's the artist. And he created everything. Okay? Let's say you don't worship me. You say, Scott, we don't worship you, but your paintings, your 10 paintings are so beautiful. We worship those 10 paintings. That's like us worshiping the sun, the moon, and the stars, and even Satan, because Satan was created by God. You may not want to accept it, but Satan is one of God's masterpieces, one of God's paintings. Just like the sun is, just like the earth is. Okay? So, I'm trying to give you this level. I'm trying to help you understand this. When man doesn't worship God, then it's like he's not worshiping the artist or the creator. But when man doesn't worship the earth, or the sun, the moon, the stars, or even Satan himself, then man's bypassed the creator, but also bypassed what he created. And even though God doesn't want you to worship the sun and the stars, you're still worshiping what he created. In other words, his painting. And any artist would love to have their paintings worshipped. When the beast system comes and they inspire man to create their own expression, Satan's just taken what God wanted to worship him and saying, give me your expression of my system. That just completely blows right through God. Then they create it with the work of their hands. Yeah, go read the Bible, what God thinks about that. Then, once that's established, it's literally their love letter to his system. That image of the beast is going to be their loving expression of his system. And he's going to possess it, command them to worship him within the image which they created, almost like we create his throne. He comes down, sits on it, and says, by the way, get the mark. And we get the mark, and we basically we're worshiping him through that which we've created for him. Do you understand the level of deity there? Man is literally creating the thing that he will encompass. And he encompasses it, says, yeah, since you created a home for me, almost like the temple, how the Jews created the temple so God can dwell in the holies of holies, so God can dwell in the temple. Yeah, the image of the beast is like the holies of holies that Satan will inhabit, that he will possess. Okay? And the fact that we're creating it for him, that's like, it's his temple, it's his holies of holies. And we've created it out of our lust and our desire for his system, which completely alienates God and everything he has to stand for. And then he inhabits it, we're worshiping that. Do you understand the different, it's layers, man. It's not one layer, it's like 28. There's so many different layers there. And that's what I'm trying to explain in this video. I don't want people to hear this interpretation and say, oh, it kind of sounds sci-fi. It's not sci-fi, man. This is worship levels like a deck of cards. It's just, there's so many levels here. And he does it. And let me tell you something. When the mark of the beast is really working, every single person who has a scan here, imagine right now how many people are scanning credit cards or handing over dollars. Okay? In the future, everyone's going to be scanning the barcode here on the hand or on the head. Every scan is uploaded to the image. Every scan. And every scan is a prayer. And every scan is a worship of him. You think it's a coincidence God says that if you receive the mark of the beast, you're damned forever? That's because you have completely given yourself to his system, and every single scan is your worship towards that system. Satan is going to be receiving so much worship at that moment. It will perhaps greatly rival anything God's ever received on this planet times 10. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to explain to you, how genius this thing is. It works. And it works to one end. It gets Satan unbelievable worship on this planet. Perhaps worship that's greater than what God has ever received. I won't say the worship is as blessed, but it's a lot.